everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Stone Genius Podcast. My name is Ro, or as you can call me for the rest of winter, you can call. So my real name is, let's go with Ro Martin. And if you prefer to call me Rodrigo Martinez for the next short while, I believe I could get a free trip to Mexico. Hold on. I should have a sound for that. Shouldn't I have that queued up? Which is exactly what Bobby says to me when she walks into the bedroom very often. Okay, so I have lots of notes. I've color-coded my notes. I have highlighters that I use to color-code my notes. And they're the four primary colors as I remember them from high school. Blue, yellow, pink, and orange, believe, are the primary colors. So I was doing my notes today. Generally, I have more than 5 topics. So what I've been doing is trying to reel it in, which, yes, I can hear my wife's laughter as I say that out loud. But nonetheless, I try to stay to 4 subjects. Doesn't happen ever, but I try. So today I'm doing notes, and sometimes till the end, I don't know where I'm going to start, which obviously I've started and I haven't done this, so I'm starting with none of them. Okay, so I have yellow, and then I had blue, and then I had some orange. Not very much orange. I had a lot of yellow, a lot of blue, a little bit of orange, and then I didn't have any pink. And so I actually wrote down no pink. And then I also wrote down, that's what I say every time Bobby doesn't want to have sex. It's also, if we forget, Milady's salad dressing from Pizza Shop. So Pizza Shop is a Kansas City area-based pizza chain. I believe they're just here. And they used to have, because like their pizzas, instead of small, medium, large, it was like Prince or Princess, Queen, and King. So instead of medium, large, it was Queen and King. And then the salad dressing was My Lady's special dressing or My Lady's dressing. And it was like this pink garlic based. I mean, it's some good. I mean, I like dipping like the little Captain's crackers in them. And I don't know what makes them the Captain's crackers. I don't know. But that's what they're called. And I should probably look that up, but I won't. So anyway, I like dipping the Captain's crackers in them, and the sauce is so good. But for some reason, they don't call it Milady's sauce anymore. They call it the pink stuff, which I will tell you, probably not. I don't know. I don't know which is better. I mean, I feel like Milady's dressing, Milady's pink, whatever. I think that fit the atmosphere better. So my pink notes that I've talked about all the pink notes I have, was literally about pink. And now that I've said that out loud, not where I was going to start. I'm not even 4 minutes into this episode, and I'm not even doing what I'm supposed to do. Which, once again, that sounds like something Bobby would say to me in bed. You're 4 minutes in and you're doing stuff you're not supposed to do. Why am I still seeing your face? Let's see. Well, I might as well just go in. I'm going to do orange next, which I would assume. So I had Nico Bradley on from the Moonlight Bunny Ranch in Reno, Nevada. And I would assume that's what someone might say if they were not fully satisfied or fully completed with the first person they were with. They may go back out and go, okay, I guess I'll do the orange next. So I only had one note on orange. It was about something I saw on someone else's podcast that I watched that generally I enjoy most of the time. I mean, it's not that I don't enjoy the show or the host. Sometimes I don't, the guest. And there's a reason that I'm having less guests in 2020. I don't think I missed a year, 2025. I mean, I wouldn't want to get older. Like if I would have stroked that, it'd have been like 2 years or 6 years or something dramatic where things had just changed. Like phones were like different than they are now or something. But I didn't age. I didn't want to stroke and then wake up at 68 and be like, because me at 60, once again, whoa, what did I just do to, my boom arm? I guess I should stop touching it. So Bobby heard that, me at 68, and I'm sure had a good laugh at that. So on this podcast, I didn't hear his name. because I stopped listening after, I think, 3 minutes and 45 seconds, which I want to say a lot of the listeners probably did to this show. But it shows a guy and he's wearing like a zip up, like something to keep him warm, like if it's chilly. Although I know the show's done in Tampa, so okay. I know they had snow there last week, whatever. So, but then he has like the priest thing with the collar and the white thing, the collar, the priest collar thing going on. So I'm assuming he's clergy of some type. Although once again, don't know who this person is. So here's the thing. If you are going to be representing whatever with the thing, that gives, like, here's the thing, like, he's wearing that collar thing. And when you look at him, you immediately would say, look, it's clergy. Just like if someone walked up to you and their neck was covered with cum, you'd be like, slut. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I mean, I don't want my neck covered with cum, but if that's going to lead me to a blue note. Remember when I get to cupcake or cupcake? We'll get to that. So let's try to stay focused. I know now all of you have joined Bobby in the laughter of the statements that I'm making. So you're welcome all. Hold on. I might as well. I don't know why they were applauding, and I was assuming that was more laughter. That was applauding, which no one has done for any of this portion of the show through 7 minutes. Just like when I have sex with Bobby, generally at the 7-minute, 45-second mark, no applause. None whatsoever by her, which is on me, not on her. So they have this guy. He has the thing, the collar thing on, which I don't know if that's something you could buy. Like, I feel I could go out and buy like some white pajamas and a black thing. And as long as I didn't have to prove myself and kick anyone in the head, people would be like, oh, that guy's a black belt. Don't know why he's wearing his thing around. Gi, I believe is what it is. I should know that as a genius, but once again, genius don't know everything. You know, and I don't know if you could buy a shirt like that, because that's almost like a grandfather collar, which is the one that doesn't have a collar, it just sticks up. And then if you like wore like a white, like mock turtleneck under a black, like grandfather shirt, you would almost look like a priest, now that I think about it. I hope I never did that combo, because I do like the grandfather collar. Bobby, not so fond of that collar, I believe, because Bobby has bought me many shirts over the 29 years that we have been together. Now that needs applause. More so for her staying with me for 29 years. Very easy for me with her. That was not an engine. If you're not watching, so you didn't get to see my face, not an engine trying to start. That was me saying her about Bobby, which is a noise that she hears a lot. Evidently, I body slammed her last night in my sleep. And when I rolled over, I was on my stomach, evidently. And I rolled over picking my right side up, which I can't feel. And so when I let it down, I evidently did not let it down gently. Which, now that we're 10 minutes in, something Bobby may have said. Okay, you could be a little more gently. I don't even know if that's a saying. Okay, so on this other podcast, there was a guy, a clergy guy, a priest. Let's say he's a priest. Now, it's called hyperbole. And I would think as a priest, first of all, you would know your exact number of exorcisms done. I think you would be like a sniper, and you would know the number of kills, the number of exorcisms that you've done. Like, because I guarantee if you're picked up by an entity and thrown against a wall, you remember that, because Sadhu Da has been on the program and talked about that happening to him. He remembers exactly how many times that happens, which is 1. So see, I would think that you would remember. But he says in his 5 decades of being a collar-wearing person, once again, I don't know if he can go to a store and buy this. I would assume that he can buy this combination and just wear it around. He said in his 5 decades, 50 years, he's seen 50,000 exorcisms. Hold on. Letting that sink in. Give it just a second. 50,000. So 10,000. So 50,000 over 50 years. Okay. So that's 1,000 a year, I believe. I'm having some stroke brain here. I should be better at math than this. It is 1,000 a year, which comes down to what? Like 3 a day? I should have done this math beforehand. So I believe that comes out to 3 a day, which almost 3 a day. Like, I don't know how long an exorcism takes. I think? Question mark, I'd like to see one. I mean, like if it's on film, I'm not going to believe it. I'll just think it's not. And if it's real, then I don't think I want to be in the general vicinity. Like I said, with Ouija boards, I don't believe in them, but I'm not going to play with one because the only thing good that can happen is something bad. I am going to assume that if I am in close proximity with someone who's possessed, I should leave. And if whoever's with me cares to follow, don't, unless you're my family. Like, I don't know how. So 3 a day, and that's 7 days a week for 50 years. So you're doing 3, you're witnessing, because I think that the term was I've witnessed, not participated in. But I've witnessed 50,000, and maybe he didn't clarify. Maybe I just assumed that he was in person because, once again, I think he would want to be and not doing this. I know I'm not looking at the camera. But anyway, it's 3 a day. And even if you watch 3 exorcisms, that just seems excessive. That you can go from beginning to end of an exorcism and do 3 in a day. Now, I do not know. I'm sure there are numbers at the Vatican or any other church or group that does exorcisms. I don't know what the time, I don't know what the amount of time needed from exorcism. From the time of the priest's arrival, I don't know if that's step on ground. I don't know if that's when you're face to face with a possessed person. I don't really know how that works, but I don't know how long that is. I'm sure there's a number. But what I do know is the movie The Exorcist was like 2 hours long. And I think that they did some editing. So I think that it covered, I don't remember because I saw that, was scared shitless by that. So I don't really remember, but I believe that it happened over like a couple of days. And that was one exorcism. It was a pretty bad one. I mean, it was so bad that if you mention exorcism and movie, this is the movie that you think of. I feel really old because my camera is up and I keep looking over the camera. Oh, okay. So anyway, that's so I've given you pink stuff. I've given you orange. So now it's going to get more robust. Do I start with a yellow? Let's start with yellow because the reason I said that is here is, if you can see, yellow, pink, little layer here, pink. And then on this side, blue, little orange, little bit of orange here, mostly blue. And then a whole bunch of stuff I scratched out because I decided you all did not need to hear it. So let's go to yellow. And the reason, again, so the first thing I wrote at the top, feeling good. So I've had some issues with my, oh, just fuck. Let's not talk about me. Let's go important. Let's talk about Indy. So Indy the Doberman, Indy of Overland. I think that's what I'm going to stick with, Indy of Overland. So anyway, Indy was going to arrive, but then where the breeder in the kennel is in a rural area, and it sits at the bottom of a hill. We recently had a blizzard of snow and ice, which when you live in a rural area, not supported by paved roads, and you live at the bottom of a fairly steep grade or decline, something cline, not alkaline. Sorry, that was an old baseball joke. I mean, it wasn't a joke because no one laughed, I'm sure, but it was an old reference to baseball. Let's say that. So it did not work out well. Now, what we have here going on is a thaw. Hold on. But you know what? Was that pretty good or pretty close? I say that to Bobby a lot. Did I do it at the same time? Close? Anything? No? Okay. Anything? No? Okay. So when ice and snow melt on an unpaved dirt road that has a very steep incline, decline, something cline, but now not alkaline. When the snow and ice melt, it makes what is called mud. So the mud is now slowing. So hopefully by the end of this week, when I record this, it is, I think, Tuesday. It's Tuesday-ish. Tuesday. I don't fucking know, honestly. I think it's Tuesday. I'm pretty sure it's Tuesday. Having a stroke is no fun. So anyway, we're going to get to that. Indy should be here soon. So excited. So it's already. Actually, we cleaned the carpets yesterday as well. Okay, so I'm bouncing all over the place. See, and that's in my blue notes. Oh my gosh. No, is that? No, I'll get to it. It's in my yeah, I think it's in my blue notes. So I'm not going to. So anyway, Indy should be here. Everything is ready for her now. Snow is melted where we're at. We don't live in a steep incline of unpaved roads. We live in suburbia. Hold on. That's really for me and my family. I mean, we've lived in the country, not that they had unpaved roads, but we had no stoplights. And while there was much to enjoy, I should post that picture. I'll find that picture and post it. So our first night of walking to the local bar when we moved out to the country in 2014, we're walking to the local bar and we're like, wow, that's something you don't see. Because we had come from the suburbs, we're back in. We had left the suburbs for the country. And I was like, you don't see that. And it was a horse tied to a tree outside the bar. Hold on. Yeah, that is awesome. So we were talking to him because I will talk to anyone, almost anyone. Sorry about that. I couldn't feel it. Kind of. I only could half feel it, which I think is what Bobby said. We asked him, we're like, why? And he's like, well, I can't get a DUI. And we're like, oh, wow, that's so cool. And so we're like, I go, so you can't get a ticket? He goes, no, I did get a ticket once. They gave me a ticket because the horse took a shit on the road, on the regular road, and it wasn't picked up. So, which is good to know. Once again, if you live in the suburbs, in an urban environment, in a place that maybe horses don't walk down the street, you may not know whether that's legal or illegal. I would think it would be illegal. I mean, I wish you could just take a dump wherever you wanted to. I don't. I'm one of those people that has to be home to take a dump. I mean, the hospital, I was fine because I don't remember any of my time there. But, now that I think about it, I'm almost positive I took dumps there. But I may not have been eating enough food to necessitate maybe my body, since I was losing 10, 11 pounds, almost 10 point something pounds while I was in the hospital. Okay, so anyway, Indy is going to get here. Again, there we go. Indy the Doberman will be here. Bobby has... So, a lot of girls, women were asked whether they would rather be in the woods with a bear or a man. Well, if you ask Bobby, if something happens to me, I told her that, with this Doberman, that every guy, they're going to use that as why they're talking to you. Whether you have the biggest wedding ring on that's ever been made, you don't. I know that you know that. I could be I could be kissing, I could be eating your butt. And I was trying to make that nice, PG something. I think I could say PG-13 and eating your butt. I'm not sure I could say eating your ass. And now I started thinking about that. I don't know where I was. So anyway, Indy will be here. Everything is prepared. Probably. It was something about going to the bathroom out in public. Doesn't matter. So I'm feeling good this morning. So I was going to say about this. So I haven't done some shows. I'm going to be having some interviews, which I help because I won't let them out as soon as I record them. So I'm going to have a little bit of a backup, a catalog of unreleased shows that will get released. But for some reason, my blood pressure spiked. And by spiked, I mean, my daily averages had gone from 115/75. That was my daily average, let's say. And it had gone to 145/88. So it had gone up considerably. considerably. So we went back to a medication, and it seems to. So even in the morning, generally my blood pressure has been higher. It was not, even when I was at an average of 175, my first reading of the day, because I would generally do it early before I'd really started moving around, it was 135/85. So not super high, but high. I mean, much higher than what my average ended up being for the day. This morning, after I've now been on for like 36 hours of medication going back, my blood pressure this morning when I woke up was 173. That 115/75, there we go. It's right there. Now, I did take this an hour or so after I woke up, but then I decided that I was going to take it at the 2-hour point. And I took a picture with my phone. I don't need to post it. I mean, I could. So 113/73, 88/66 the next time I took it. So I'm just, I know that Riverside edits out the silences, so it sounds like I'm just keep going. But sometimes the silences, so maybe I should be like, because then I'll hear that and I'll keep that sound in. Yeah, so it dropped from 113/73, but that's my first ones before were at 135/85, dropped down to 115. So it's about the same droppage. So yeah. So this leads me to OnlyFans, I guess. And if you're like, how does your blood pressure lead you to OnlyFans? Well, I have begged Bobby to have sex with me. Well, even before there was a monetary component that could be part of this. So I have to rub my upper lip sometimes just to make sure my nose isn't running. This is my hand I can feel with, but I can't feel my right side of my face. So it was not. So I have tried. So Bobby and I have been together for 29 years. We've been together so long that there were 8mm camcorders that people would record sex stuff. And I'm sure kid stuff, going to the zoo, family stuff, I'm sure that they would do that too. But really, your camera in the 80s and 90s, even those big ones, the full size, the ones you couldn't hide, the full size VHS ones, they were still, everyone said, to document family, blah, blah. They were for sex. Just like the massage table I can see over in the corner, it's not a massage table, it's a sex table. But they can't sell it as a sex table. Could they ask for more money? Probably. Everyone knows, though, so that maybe they're at max value for it. But anywho, I've been asking Bobby to have sex with me. While I don't listen to my own podcast to try to make it better, I do feel like I would watch Bobby and I having sex over and over again. And maybe, I'm not saying definitely, but maybe I would be able to get better. I mean, that's one of at 29 years together, you figure at some point you're going to plateau. You're going to have tried everything you wanted to try, or that they'll let you try. You've had everything. So I just think that at some point there's a plateau. There's not but I mean, I'm trying to think of what that would be. Like, I can't think of anything else that, unless and I am not a foot person. I have said that over and over and over and over and over again. Feet. So I'm not a foot person. But maybe that's it. Maybe Bobby needs to give me a foot job. I'm not sure I would feel it. Gross. I don't even want to see the foot that can manipulate, has the toes and dexterity of those toes to actually complete a foot. That is disgusting. But yet, no. So anyway, I told Bobby I wanted to start an OnlyFans account. And for a long time, she's like, no one wants to see us having sex. And I'm like, yeah. I go, first of all, that's not for us to judge. If people are paying, then they want to see it. She's hot. I'm 57. I am what I am. Ooh, I just made a Popeye reference, which I don't know whether I can do that. So if I cannot do that, I did not do that. It was a Popeye with P-O-P-I, Popeye. Anyway, I wanted to record the now. while I'm not looking at the camera right now a lot, and I understand that. I'm doing a solo show. I'm used to audio only, so I'm not used to the camera. But I will tell you, I almost said I would go full American Psycho, which I wouldn't. That's a movie and a book by Bret Easton Ellis. The movie starred Christian Bale. But there's a scene where he is banging a girl from behind. And if you don't know, I guess he was having intimate relationships with her from behind. I don't know what hole was being used. I don't even think it matters for the story as what he was doing. He was banging her from behind, I believe, and he was enjoying himself. Now, he was enjoying himself a lot. So he had a mirror on his wall or closet and was very interested in watching himself. Now, I will say that while I have not videotaped myself recorded myself having sex with Bobby, I do feel like much of my attention would be, and we don't even have mirrors, so I would have to look at the camera. And I'm trying to think. So here's the deal. I would probably assume that there aren't a lot of people that are going to tune into 250-plus-year-olds. I can say it. Bobby looks amazing for 50. I mean, and she sometimes looks, she goes, can you believe that girl? And I always go, that girl looks good for 46, but you look amazing for 50. So I'm 57, she's 50, and she's always been, no one wants to see that. And I probably agree. Now, if somehow you got like a gift card, but the only thing you could do, the only thing you could search, and I have an OnlyFans account, but I've never done anything with it, so I've never even looked around, so I don't know. But like your filters, like it would be very specific. It would be like 57-year-old with a 50-year-old having sex. I guarantee, and I'm not right, I just know how good, I just know there's a reason we still have a lot of sex. Even post-stroke. I mean, not as much, because Bobby's always afraid that I'm going to die. But here is the genius idea. You probably have to be old, at least 55 plus, probably. Let's say 50 years old or older. Most likely a male, and most likely a deviant to know what a snuff film is. I'm not even saying see one. I know what one is. I have never seen one, but I know what one is. So take with that what you will. But a snuff film is an erotic film where I was going to say actress, but I assume it could be an actor as well, that the performer, and I believe it's only one, I believe it's the main star, they are actually killed. They're killed. I don't know why I'm whispering that, because this is a show. You probably would go back and turn it up, so I don't know why I'm whispering at the end. So that's what a snuff film is. So like I wouldn't be able to advertise my channel as a potential snuff film channel, but I would say every time Bobby and I should show my graph, because I do it to Bobby every once in a while, because I think it's hilarious, actually. And I don't know whether it's healthy, but it is hilarious. And I will take hilarity over most of the time, I think. And I'm just looking about how awful my outfit is, but don't care. It's very comfortable. It's so comfortable, I didn't even think about it before having this go on, this recording. So I want to record Bobby and I having sex. And people are going to have to, because each episode, it would be like a cliffhanger. Does he die at the end? Because I will tell you that when I climax, orgasm, complete, whatever, I make sounds and then generally go limp on top of Bobby. So each time my body is mimicking death, although it's more I'm just exhausted. Because I don't know if you listened a couple minutes ago, I'm 57. I'll show Bobby the graph where my blood pressure, and I don't know how, because it's not like I'm still putting the cuff around my arm to do my blood pressure. It's not like I'm putting it around my penis, and that's why my blood pressure skyrockets when I'm having sex with Bobby. But my graph is very funny. That is, so if you just looked at my graph and just saw the graph and said, can you pick out like when he may be waking up and when he may be doing physical exertion. It would be very easy. You could see those. It was weird because one of my doctors, I said I was doing my blood pressure like 6 times a day, and they were like, "Why are you doing it so much?" And I go, "Well, I want an average." Because there are a lot of times where I would have only done 2 blood pressure readings like the last couple days, like over the weekend. They would have been like 155 over 93 for an average and 149 over 90 for an average. It would have been really high. And so I needed to know throughout the day what I was actually doing. And that's why I do it so often. So you could see when I was doing activity. My thought is Bobby and I, we have our OnlyFans account. We record us having sex, which I guarantee that you're going to want to see anyway. I mean, I'm not saying that like you've never watched porn. Like I don't watch porn. And I'm not saying that there would ever be someone that would be like, "Oh, I have an OnlyFans account," and maybe like, "Oh, I got to see it." So I don't think that we would change someone from being non-porn watchers to porn watchers, unless it was the curiosity. Like they were like, "Well, I've been friends with him for." There was a Rocco Siffredi show that I talked about. So if you want to know what I look like in the 80s, look up porn star Rocco Siffredi, like 1990, Rocco Siffredi with Ashlyn Gear. That may have been about the last time I watched porn. I mean, not watched it, but like I watched it. It was more of an educational because everyone, my best friend's mom, who saw me all the time, thought that I was Rocco Siffredi, that was and that would be cool. I mean, that have been my alter ego. And then at the same time, like have really Rocco instead. I mean, it makes sense instead of Rocco. Like if I'm going to be Rodrigo, I could be Rocco. I mean, I could be Mexican and Italian. Wow. I did not take advantage of some of these things I could have in my early youth. But my thought is we don't promote it as a snuff film, but the chance of me dying in sex goes up exponentially, which I hope now that I'm saying this out loud, Bobby's not listening to this episode because I know that there's a certain level of not wanting to have sex with me because I'm a 57-year-old. So there's that. And then there's a certain level of he's had a stroke. He could die at some point. So there's that. So there's a lot in her mind that is saying, I probably shouldn't have sex with him. So if you think of that, if you think about the fact that Bobby is very nervous that I'm about to die, and there is the slim chance that I could die, I think people would tune in for that. But I don't need one person tuning in and then telling everyone, "Oh, I didn't die this week." And actually, it would be multiple times a week you'd see episodes. So you're welcome. And so I also wrote down, does anyone use my show as background noise during sex? And as I'm writing this down, I was like, definitely USA Jason. And when I say USA Jason, I have to differentiate him from UK Jason. And I also needed to say USA twice because we're number one. Hold on. No, did I push the wrong button then? USA Jason. So if this episode is being used and he is 40 minutes into having sex with Roz, his wife, and he's listening to this program, I want to say, hey, Jason, what's up? I hope everything's going all right. Roz, if you guys are watching this video, then I hope you can see me, and I'm waving at you right now, Roz. So there you go. But I would think that the OnlyFans account, yeah, I don't think most, like my wife, like, here's the deal. My wife incorrectly, so here's the thing. If you know what a glory hole is, for some reason, and I don't know why, you just assume everyone knows what a glory hole is. I don't know why that is. But I have found out there are a lot of women aged 50, because my wife didn't know, and younger that do not know what a glory. They actually thought that was the butthole. No. No. I guarantee you, if you have a husband or a spouse or someone with male genitalia that you're banging, having sex with, and you're given the option of them doing you in the ass or them using a glory hole, and it does not matter. Your level of distaste for anal sex, your level of, if you're like, no, that hole is out only. I get it. A lot of people, sometimes it takes 20 plus years to get to the point. But I will say now, I guarantee you, if you are given the option of loving you or whoever, do you in the butt or stick it in a glory hole, I get it. Some people are very adventuresome. Okay. So you may say, hey, take your chances. But I would say if I had the chance, like, I do not want to have sex with my wife's butt. Not that she doesn't have a beautiful butt. I've talked about the things I do to it many a time. But I would say that if terrorists have me and they go, you must either have sex with your wife in the butt or stick it in a glory hole. And remember, these are terrorists too. I would pick my wife's butt 1,000 times out of 100. Yeah, 1,000 times out of 100. And you're like, you can't do that. That's not how math works. I know, but that's my decision. But do you know how much money we could probably make? Potential snuff film. But I'm sure I can't use those words. I mean, because, as much as like, this is Blue Notes. Hold on. Do I have more? Yeah, I do have more yellow notes. Because I was going to reference Elon Musk, but I have him in my Blue Notes. So he will come up. So let's see the rest of my yellow notes. Here is some of my other notes. Since we're talking about sex, I will also tell you that Bobby is wanting me to try something new in bed. A British accent. That's for Jason UK. Yeah. So I already have my shirt off, so I already have that part conquered. But she's like, oh, will you use a British accent for me? And I answered, why, eh? See, I answered in a Canadian accent instead of so it was a joke that she wanted me to be Jason and then Charlene's from Canada. So I said, why, eh? It was a joke. But I will say that Bobby's face does, when I mention Jason UK, because I always have to go Jason UK or USA Jason. So when I start USA, so that it isn't like I say Jason USA or Jason UK, because then there's some anticipation like, oh, like I can't wait to hear the story about, and then which one. It's USA, and they know which Jason I'm going to talk about, or it's Jason and then UK, but it's still so they can differentiate them, because I don't want to mistakenly just say Jason. But I will say, if I started talking during sex with it, but I don't know, like British, like are there swear words? Like they seem to use the word cunt a lot, like a lot more than we use in the American society. And I don't know, like I get in my own head about doing accents. That's why I just say, let's not attribute it to anything. If you think it's whatever accent it is, that's the accent that it is. But I do think that, so I also wrote, this is how jokes are written. So when I originally wrote it down, it was Bobby wanted me to try something new in bed, a British accent. And see, then I'm referencing Jason. And then I followed up with, I responded, why, eh? See, and I think that Canadians say maybe not like that, and maybe not at all. But that's how jokes are written. I wrote the first part, and then I was like, oh, there's more to it. Kind of like sex. Like Bobby will think we're done, and then I'm like, oh, no, there's more to it. I was in the hospital for a while, and then we didn't have any sexual relations for quite a while. So these are the type of texts that my wife gets. And I would actually look for the text. Maybe I'll copy and paste it to Instagram, because I'm sure that'll be not blocked. I texted Bobby one morning, and I said to her, I go, if you're one of my children, you may want to tune off for just turn the volume down for just a second. I just told my wife, I told Bobby, I go, I believe my body is full of ejaculate that needs releasing. I will say that my blood pressure is lower. I don't know what sound that needed. Maybe it needed this one. Okay, have I covered all of the yellow? I have not. Okay, so we're getting ready for Indy's arrival. And Bobby had brought up, we have our really nice heavy-duty carpet cleaner. And so Bobby, which generally I'm the not carpet cleaner because it's clean. But anyway, so no, it's strike. Hold on. Okay, so the carpet cleaner was upstairs. I was like, we should clean the carpet while we don't have a dog in the house right now. Perfect idea. So Bobby helped me get our living room, kitchen, then we have a fireplace that separates the two. And so I was like, we can do one side, let it dry, do the other side, hallways, bedrooms, stuff like that. Then the next day, I ended up doing it all in one day. We moved everything. Then we're just like, you're not really supposed to walk on it right after you've cleaned it. But here's the deal. My feet were clean. I washed my feet beforehand. So that wasn't the deal. And here was my suggestion. So here was my first note, I guess. My suggestion for those needing their carpets cleaned, and I'm not talking about old maids, unless they're wearing their old maid outfits, that would still be all right. Don't look at the water. Like, do not. Like, if you're cleaning the carpet, you literally should hire someone. I would pay someone, like a neighbor. No, I wouldn't, because they would know. I would have to hire a stranger, put a bag on their head, which in my world, they're going to think they're having sex with an ugly person, but they're not. I just don't want them to know where I live. Now, on the way there, could we let them have sex with an ugly person with a bag on their head? Probably. And then another revenue stream. I mean, there are a lot of streams. The stream that got all over Bobby, the streams of revenue. There are lots of streams that I'm talking about right now. But I would have to it'd have to be a stranger, and they would have to, like, we'd have to meet and then like get one of those rings that shake their hand, but then they pass out and they can't know. Here's the deal. For most people, and I'm sure that a lot of you, probably the same people that floss their teeth, wash your carpets at a very regular interval. Our intervals seem to be based on ease. So whatever is the easiest, because it's hard, you got to move the furniture, block it off. We've had the dogs and everything. It's been hard. I know that we have done it recently, but with my stroke, I don't know how recently, but does the carpet look much better? Yes, it does. But you don't want to see that water. I'm telling you, kidnap someone, not kidnap, hire someone, pay them. Because if you're going to put a bag on a stranger's head and go, I need to drive you somewhere so that you can dump out water from a carpet cleaner because we're too repulsed to see this, fuck, you're going to have to pay a lot, because whatever you think they're thinking in their head at that time when you're making that offer to them, it is far worse than that. I mean, I don't think that you say, I'm going to pay you a lot, put a bag on your head, drive you to an undisclosed location that you can't tell anyone where you're going. All you're going to do is whenever you can sit in the bathroom, whenever this needs to be poured down the drain, you pour it down the drain. God, you would have to pay so much. I guess that's why they have carpet cleaning companies that would do this, now that I think about it, because I don't think they charge thousands of dollars like you would have to pay an individual to do that. Don't look at the water. My God. So first of all, carpet feels much better, but don't look at the water, because I told Bobby, she was at work when I was doing carpet cleaning yesterday, which, man, I probably should not have been doing. With my right foot, kept getting... No matter what I tried to do to keep the cord from tangling around my right foot, it did. I did not trip or anything. And then at one point, I hit our fireplace hard with my foot. I mean, I looked down. I was expecting gushing blood. It didn't cut it or anything. And then I was like, well, maybe I broke it and can still walk around, because I hit it hard and could not feel it. So I had to be very careful. But I called Bobby and I said, you know what? After cleaning this carpet and in emptying this, cleaning twice and emptying this, we literally, like, someone could have just come with a dump truck full of dirt and poured it in our backyard. And I would say, hey, let's go have sex on top of that dirt pile, which you would respond, she would respond, Bobby would respond, or anyone in their right mind, unless you're a freak. And even you're a freak, I still think you'd say no. You would say no. So I'm just so, yeah. Which was funny because it made me think about, so one of the most popular shows that's in our catalog is, I believe it's titled Four Drunk Girls and Me, or Me and Four Drunk Girls. I think it's Four Drunk Girls and Me, or me, whatever. Four Drunk Girls is in the title. Google it. And this is before we were doing video. And during this, it was Bobby, a friend of the show, Kat, and then two of her tennis league teammates were there. And I was the only one that had headphones. I didn't have extension cords at the time, so it couldn't reach, but I did have microphones that got to them and everything. So we were talking, and I wasn't really, at points I was talking over them. So they're doing a conversation. They're like, I don't think I actually turned down their mics. And I had just said, I've lost control of this because I was not involved at all. It's what I assume most people's sex lives are like, they're not involved. So I didn't feel like I was involved in this, but at some point, sex was brought up between me and Bobby. And I had said, because we have this big, like huge L-shaped couch. Like if people sat next to each other, you could probably fit 10 people on this couch. It's a huge couch. And I had said it had come up that we had sex like on the couch. Well, one of them got off the couch and got on the floor to do the rest of the show. Like it was like, and I'm like thinking to myself, if we had sex at that point on the couch, you don't think we had sex on the floor right in front of it? So what I'm saying is there will be an OnlyFans where we're going to charge astronomical numbers. Because without government healthcare, socialized healthcare, whatever you want to call it, it's not very inexpensive to have a stroke. It's costly to have a stroke. That probably would have been a better way to have it in America. Yay, America, we're number one. Man, I haven't even gotten to the blue yet. So let's see. Yeah. It is. Our carpets, they feel so much better. They look better. But that water, you do not. I'm just telling you, you don't want to see it. I mean, you'll probably forget it and move on and have sex on the same part of the floor again, but I'm just saying it'll be a while. Let's see. Here's one thing. I'm moving to the blue notes. And much like Bobby having sex with me, when she thinks it's near being over, it's not. So let's see. One of my last notes that I wrote down are, this is like an SAT statement or question. I guess you would have to leave the last word out. Billionaires are to poor people as genius are to what blank people, and you fill it in. And I guess it should be billionaires are to regular people as genius are to regular people. It is the same thing. Like if you met a billionaire and they are, you never can tell if my nose is running, which is awesome. Because I will tell you, let's talk about me and Bobby having sex. One time she told me my nose was running. So thank you. You know, I should have taken the opportunity to find out. Someone said that's not made a good lubricant. That sounds disgusting. So anyway, billionaires are to because if you try talking to a billionaire that flew private jets, that had chefs, that they didn't make their own schedule, they had an assistant, I would say that they're very different than regular people, just how genius are different than regular people. Let's see, what else do I have? So my friend Mitch came over, and so Mitch and I, before I met Bobby, before we met our wives, we used to go to movies together, and we love going to bad movies. I mean, the worse, the better, honestly. And so I heard about this movie called Zombeaver, ZOM Beaver. Internationally, hopefully a beaver's a beaver. And I'm not like, now that I think about it, this was a horror film. And I'm about to say it sounds exactly like you think it would be. Because I would think most normal people would think, oh, that's a combination of zombies, and beavers, the things that live have the tails. But there might be some people that think that I'm talking about still the zombie part, but then the beaver not being a aquatic-based mammal. I'm talking about a coochie. So that one could be a horror film too. I guess that actually was. I guess, but I think it was called Teeth. There was a movie about, oh yeah, see, that's probably what happened. That the Zombiever was made before, and they couldn't use Zombiever, so they had to use teeth, because there's a movie about someone has teeth in their vagina. And I'm gonna tell you, that doesn't sound fun. Like Bobby wants to try new stuff, not often. But if she did, and she was like, hey, what do you think about teeth in my vagina? Hard pass. Like no. Which I guess she could gaslight me. Like if she never wanted to have sex with me again. Or if you're listening and you have a vagina. Or I guess you could, butthole would work as well, and anus would work as well. If you have a hole that someone is sticking something into, and you no longer just want to have sex with them, just tell. So here's the deal. Once again, everything seems to go back to a Ouija board. If Bobby said, hey, I have really sharp, razor sharp, almost shark-like teeth in my vagina, I'm not gonna check it out. Like, I may have some friends that think it's weird that I'm encouraging them to have, like, finger bang my wife to see if there's really teeth in there, but I'm not doing it, that's for sure. Hard pass. So I guess, so if you want to gaslight someone, yep, I got teeth in my butthole. Sorry. I mean, I'm not sorry. It doesn't bother me. It may bother you. Hard pass. Like that could be an OnlyFans channel too. Like me dying, if you like you could do like, which guys would try this out? And then you see. I mean, I guess that'd be a thing. So Zombiever, gosh, I got really sidetracked. I mean, for it being one line, Zombiever, this is literally what it says. Zombiever, Bill Burr, John Mayer, setting expectations. That is all I wrote about this particular note that I'm talking about. And I've been talking about it for like 3 minutes. So Zombiever is a movie, not about a zombie vagina. There is that movie out there. It's not called Zombiever. So Zombiever is about the aquatic mammal that like chops down trees and makes dams and stuff. And they are zombies for some reason. Don't know why. I'm assuming, and now that I think about it, because I think that's why Bill Burr and sorry, I'm closing my eyes. I'm literally thinking about it. I think that's why Bill Burr and it is. I don't want. There's gonna be some spoiler alerts. This is an old film. So here's the problem. We saw Bill Burr, and Bill Burr is very identifiable, the comedian Bill Burr. So we saw him. I would like to ask him about his time on the set of Zombiever. But so anyway, you see, they're the first people you see. I didn't know they were in there. I mean, I had at Zombie Beavers. Like, I literally was like, yeah, okay. Well, yeah, I will watch this. I mean, because you know if there's that. So the basis of the movie was, it was co-eds, guys and girls. The guys showed up. I don't want to ruin too much. Anyway, they're on holiday or vacation or spring break, something like that. So there's going to be gratuitous nudity, which there really wasn't, but there will be nudity there that there doesn't need to be, which I'm fine with. And that there's going to be deaths in a way, and because they're zombies, they're going to turn. Like, they're not going to die. I should do you a favor and put a pick in your head or whatever. You're going to let them turn and come back and then be a problem again. There are a lot of issues with this movie, but the issues were, so John Mayer, the singer and evidently actor, you don't know who it is. They're wearing such a fake bad mustache and wig that we had to look it up. And so it was John Mayer, the singer, and Bill Burr. So we were like, what? Are you kidding me? This is going to be hilarious. Bill Burr, I mean, I don't give a shit about John Mayer. I mean, he may sing a good song, or there may be a catchy theme or something like Beavers, hey, they're my friends. I don't know. So I don't know what John Mayer sounds like or what his music sounds like, but I'm assuming it sounds like Beavers ain't my friends. So, but Bill Burr, you're all excited about. The problem is this movie was made back in the 2000 teens, sometime, like mid to early teens. So Bill Burr and John Mayer. So here's my guess. John Mayer, singer, someone said, do you want to be in a movie? It's going to be basically cameo. He's like, yeah, definitely. And Bill Burr's like, no one's ever heard of me. Be in a movie? Yeah, sure. I don't know their levels of fandom at that time. But let's just say my assumption, the fact that they're in a movie titled Zombiever, about a zombie beaver, once again, the animal, not the vagina. He said yes. Like, I don't think, like, if they came back to Bill Burr now, and maybe I should ask him these questions. If they came to him and they said, hey, Bill, buddy, pal, Bill, would you like to be in Zombiever 2? And I cannot say 2, the movie 2 with everything without being at the Electric Boogaloo. But I also grew up in the early 80s. So what was that? Breaking 2 Electric Boogaloo. I'm sure I should watch some of those movies. There's one where they actually have like a breaking, like it's a fight, but they're breakdancing. Like it's like an updated versions of West Side Story, but with much more Jerry curl. So anyway, our expectations were sent. So much like my blood pressure, starts off really high. So we're excited. Wow, Bill Burr, this. And the very first scene with them was very funny. We laughed. Ha, 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 ha. Well, it was funny. I mean, we didn't laugh like that. It was more of an LOL. So it was out loud, but it did not sound like the Lambs. Which there's a movie called Black Sheep, Australian or New Zealand film, maybe it's New Zealand because it's set in New Zealand, film about zombie sheep, which is great because a guy's wife turns into a sheep. Not only, so like there's zombie sheep, but if they bite a person, then that person turns into a zombie sheep. They don't just turn into a zombie person bitten by a zombie sheep. They turn into a zombie sheep. And there is a guy, a husband, whose wife turns, and he's okay with that. Which I would assume would be a OnlyFans account that would have a lot of subscribers, and there would be 0 people that would say that they subscribe to that channel. That's just what I'm guessing, but I don't know that for sure. So expectations. So Bill Burr and John Mayer were in maybe the first 2 minutes, and I may be overestimating that by a minute and 30 seconds. They were at the beginning, and then they were at the end. Both of them humorous. The movie is called Zombiever. So it's a zombie beaver. You already have that. And even if you don't see the trailer, even if you didn't see the trailer, you would probably have... See, that we had expectations that were raised immediately by the cameos. I'm going to call them cameos because the amount of time that they spent there, that Bill Burr and John Mayer were. So I was deeply disappointed. And then we watched it, which we've done with other films. Now, would we have ever been introduced to classics like Mausoleum? Or as we like to call it, Mausoleum, because that has a woman that has like regular sex. Well, not regular sex because it's not with her husband. It's with the gardener. But she has sex and they're done. And then this is going to be a spoiler alert. First of all, I almost called it Mausoleum. Mausoleum came out probably in the 80s. Okay. We saw it on VHS. And because I don't think it was released in theaters. I don't think, even though horror films were bad back then, like Return of the Living Dead, this is a special kind of. So anyway, the woman who's having sex with the gardener, and he's not even like a good looking gardener, as I remember. And I don't know how good looking she was. I can't. So the only key thing I can remember is the next part of the scene. And I'm sorry, you should stop right now. If you want to know about this movie before you finish, stop this episode right now. So anyway, they have sex. And so they're lying next to each other. Everything seems to be cool. You know, it's post-coital. It's post, you finish at the same time. Oh, it's so. And even though they may not be in love with each other because she's a rich mansion living woman and that's literally the gardener who probably, never mind. So anyway, they're laying there next to each other. Everything went great. He hit that thing. There were no teeth in the vagina, which is a very good. That is good. I have not ever run across teeth in the vagina. I hope that Bobby never gets teeth in her vagina, so I never run across it. But let's just say this. Once again, given the choice, I don't want that. I would rather, like, if Bobby wants to not ever have sex with me again, just say you have teeth in your vagina. I will tell you, then I might be more open to anal sex with her, not with me. At that point, not saying that she is, but she's gonna say that she got teeth in both for me to be like, okay. And I'm such an idiot sometimes because I almost said she would. So I was like, you're gonna have to convince me that you had teeth in your vagina, your butt, and your mouth. She already has teeth in her mouth. I don't know why. I mean, and she hasn't used them yet. So maybe I would try it. Maybe I'd be like, you have teeth in your mouth. But if I say that, then I would think next time that she did that gave me a BJ, blowjob, a blowy as we call it, to release my ejaculate, she may bite. So, like, to prove a point. Like, if I'm like, well, I'm not going down there, but I still want you to do this. She went, arr. And she would be like, she would probably be like, I'm sorry. See, like, it's still in her mouth. She would probably go, so sorry, I can't believe it did that. Because you're right, I've always had teeth in my mouth. So I would assume that you could teach those areas, if you had teeth, to bite or not bite. I don't know that for a fact. I don't know why you would have teeth there and not be able to, like, I can control. I'm biting, not biting. I mean, I don't know. Okay, let's see. So that seems to be a lot about the movie Zombeaver. In fact, the movie's like an hour and a half long, and I just spent 20 minutes talking about it. So if it seems remotely interesting to you, I guarantee you I have given you all the highlights. The fact, when I say that Bill Burr and John Mayer were funny, they were not funny enough for you to actually consume this movie. And I'm not trying to take money or views or anything away from this. I think it was free on Prime. So if you have Prime, I'm just saying that. So if I was to choose, like if I had like, okay, there's a chance Bobby's vagina or one of her holes, her mouth already has them, has teeth. Or watch Zombeavers again, free on Prime. I'm going to go ahead and try something I haven't tried before because I will not watch Zombeavers again. There is nothing. I mean, like the special, like the beavers. So here's the deal. The Zombeavers looked great for this movie. Like they looked exactly like Zombeavers would. And I can't even think of a different way that Zombeavers may look. So why would I don't need to watch and I can't believe I don't know what Zombeaver 2 would be. Like they move into the city. Like if it was Zombeaver 2, the Electric Boogaloo, and they were breakdancing, because here's the deal. Like if you're driving down the road and you saw a breakdancing beaver, even if it looked like a zombie beaver, like it had glowing eyes and the teeth were for some reason bigger than they should be, and it's foaming at the mouth, whatever. I guarantee this. I don't guarantee it. I would say the probability of someone stopping and watching that beaver breakdancing at the side of the road, you're probably going to get a lot of victims that way. I don't know what you do with the cars because a beaver's not going to be able to drive a car. So I don't know. I mean, yeah. So because then that would be. So here's the deal. If I'm driving down the road and I see a zombie beaver, I'm stopping, whether Bobby's in the car with me or not. I'm stopping. I'll get out of the car. I'll try to give it a cracker like I do to the squirrels. It's a zombie beaver. Now, if I see a zombie beaver dancing, but it just keeps moving up in front of each abandoned car from the victims that they've crazed, and I see blood and carnage around, I'm not stopping. Okay. Now, I have mentioned this. It's literally in the name of the podcast. I'm a genius. So I would have calculated this creature that's breakdancing no matter. And I hope that just maybe I can drive slow enough that they can't attack me, but my dash cam. And here's the funny thing, too, as I say this. Where am I driving? I've had a stroke. Yeah, I'm not driving. If you've ever heard of a lead foot, It's someone that drives extremely fast. I've never been a Leadfoot. Tickets not something I do, but I can't feel like we have a trash can where the lid pops up, and it's either goes up real slow because I'm real like gentle, or it's just like bang. But yeah. Okay. So once again, I have spoken more about Zombeaver than you need to spend. In fact, if you would have said, I don't want to hear about Zombeavers, like if you would have thought I would have been talking about the teeth in the vagina, and you're like, I don't want to hear that, and you fast forwarded, skipped, whatever you do to get to this point, you didn't miss anything. So for you that have listened to the Zombeaver story, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, you have heard more about a zombie beaver than you've ever wanted to know. And like, if there literally was a Zombeaver outbreak, like it became a real thing, you'd be like, ugh, I don't. Like, you're not going to go, I wish I would have watched this movie and learned something, because there's nothing you could learn. And I don't, yeah. Let's see. What other notes do I have? So I hear that Billy Idol and Joan Jett are going on tour. And I want to go. I don't think Joan Jett was with him. I saw Billy Idol, I want to say at Memorial Hall. I'm not sure that's even correct. I want to say that it was at Memorial Hall, though, in like 1982. Mark, I'm going to have to look that up. But I saw Billy Idol. And I remember because I got a black T-shirt, because that's what you got at concerts. And in the 1980s, that meant you were a Satanist. I'm not kidding. Like if your parents were religious, then they thought, because they thought rock and roll was evil and the black was symbolizing, everything symbolizes something, whether it's true or not. So anyway, Billy Idol and Joan Jett are going back out on tour. And the note that I wrote was, so Bobby and I went to see Cupcake. Now, that was a couple years ago, and it may be Cup, which is because there's 2 Ks in cake. So it's Cupcake. I've always said it's Cupcake, but there's 2 Ks, so it could be Cupcake, because I think Bukkake has 2 Ks, and a Bukkake is when a whole bunch of guys surround someone and jizz them all over them. So it could be Cupcake or Cupcake. Let's say it's Cupcake. But it may be Cupcake. So let's say it's Cupcake. At the show, this has been a couple years ago, so I was like 55. We were by far the oldest. Even the parents, and yes, I said parents that got tickets for the upstairs where you could get tables and have your separate bar, and not downstairs where because it was an 18 and over show. And you're like, what? Why are you going to that? It's Cupcake. Or Cupcake, I don't care. And if you're like, well, I don't know who this artist is. Well, she's amazing is who she is. And if I was to direct you to her music catalog to learn about her and the music that she does, I would say either listen to the first songs that you're going to listen to. I would say either choose to start with Best Dick Sucker or Squidward Knows. I would say either one of those. And if you're like, those sound very different, I guarantee you they're not. Like the content of they're different. They're highly different. But whoever it's being directed towards, completion, going to be the same. Let's see. But I wrote down, my note was that at Cupcake, like if I went to see Cupcake again, which I definitely would, next time she comes to Kansas City, I hope to see her. Now, I will tell you at that point, most likely I will be the only person at her show that has had a stroke. Now, I know that there are people that can be young in their 30s, 20s, something that could have a stroke. But I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb and say that the probability that I'm the only one at a Cupcake show that's had a stroke is pretty damn high. I'm not going to say it's 100%, but it's probably pretty high. Now, at a Billy Idol Joan Jett concert, those numbers drastically change. Like the number of people that haven't had a stroke or at least some sort of medical event is going to be really low. Yeah. Yeah. Like as out of place as we looked at, Bobby and I looked at the Cupcake concert, and Bobby looked amazing in her fishnet stockings that night. As out of place as we look, these young people at the Cupcake concert were looked that out of place going to Joan Jett and Billy Idol. That said, if they come to Kansas City, I'm definitely going to see them. Let's see, what else did I write? Oh, so I wrote, some of my I don't know why I wrote this note. I go, music was better, and then I wrote Harold Pinners next to it because I used to shop at Harold Pinners, which if people... So here's what I can say. Imagine suburban, affluent suburban. I know I'm closing my eyes while I talk to you. Tough shit. Bobby doesn't want me to make eye contact with her often, so I'm not making eye contact with you that often. So anywho, Harold... So imagine a white guy in America coming from a very affluent suburb like BMWs and the sort, shopping at an urban store. So back in the 80s when I started shopping at Harold Pinners, if I told a white person, first of all, if I told them the name, they didn't know what Harold Pinners was. Secondly, if I told them where it was, which I believe it used to be, it was in the Landing Shopping Center, which I think is still there, which I think is like 69th or 75th and Prospect, somewhere in there. Like, oh yeah. Yeah. So, but I put the music was better. Back then it was. Like the music I listened to was much better. Like while a lot of people, it's called Rickrolling now, there were a lot of people that I know that I was friends with that had Rick Astley's CD. And if you're like, he had a CD, I thought he only had one song. Yeah, that's what I thought too. Evidently there's more. So, but this is what I also wrote about Harold Pinners, about me shopping at Harold Pinners. When I started shopping there, I was an oddity. So it was not like I was the only white person there. So I definitely, so when I started, because it reminds me of when we were in Chicago on the South Side, when Trinity went to Illinois Institute of Technology. Go some sort of bird, Red Hawks. I have the hat. Jeez, it's been so many years. Eek. Hold on. We'll use that sound for that. But we drove separate cars, and I don't remember if it was Trinity and I or Mo and I that got there first, and we're waiting for the others to show up, Bobby and the other child, whichever one it was, to show up. And someone came up with like concern. It was funny because they're like, "Are you all lost?" And we're like, "Oh," and they're like, "Is everything okay? Do you need to use a phone or something?" And we're like, "No, we're gonna eat here at Famous Chicken and Waffles." Because why would you be in Chicago and not eat chicken and fucking waffles? I mean, I am not a big chicken fan. And you will hear me, like when people say tastes just like chicken, I don't want to taste that. Like if you tell me it tastes just like steak, I'm tasting it. Tell me it tastes just like chicken. You're not enticing me to try whatever you have. But chicken and waffles, that is something different. Oh my God. Now I got to have chicken and waffles. And I will tell you here in Kansas City, it is not easy to find chicken and waffles. Can you do it? Yes, you can. But is it easy? No, it is not. So anyway, so I didn't really, so sometimes it may have been like, well, what isn't like the other? So I wouldn't have been. And so, but I will tell you that there is, so let's just use the term that the women use. And if you're like, well, I'm a woman and I don't use this, or I'm whomever and I don't use this term, that's all right. Not everyone uses this. Not everyone knows it. But BDE, which stands for big dick energy. So sometimes so here's the deal. If you're not supposed to be in a place, if you act like you belong often, people don't question it. So you give off that energy. And if people are like, oh, okay, Ro, so you're saying you have big dick energy? Yeah, I had it then, I have it now. And if you don't believe that big dick energy is true, ask an American black, and you have to be face to face to them. You have to be able to see their face. Go, is big dick energy a real thing? Don't listen to their answer doesn't matter. Yes, no, whatever comes out of their mouth doesn't matter unless it's a big dick. But it doesn't matter. Watch their face. Their face will tell you that, yes, big dick energy is definitely a thing. Let's see, what else? So someone was talking about, hey, and I think I'm almost done. What is this? And I wrote this down because the type of music and I listen to, and I don't remember, I think this is Megan Thee Stallion. But because the type of music that I listen to, it's very self-affirming because it's like, yes, this music, this is about me. And it says, man, I make this shit look easy. I ain't trying. I just be me. I never met a person that I had to compete with. And that's how I feel. That when I'm saying I'm just so confident in where I am that I'm not worried about other people. It's like when I talk about, like, if I was to take an IQ test, I'm okay with that because I know where I fall. So I don't like if someone, so USA, Jason, I'll do that for you all now too. He hung up on me once because he said that he had an IQ that was higher than mine. And he didn't go, he went 141, which is what our youngest Trinity has. Mine's 136. And if you don't think, like, when you're talking IQ, 5 points is huge. Like, I can talk to Trinity, and then there are times I cannot talk to Trinity. My friend from the society, Harry Bodley Scott, who has new music out, go find it. Harry Bodley Scott. Go find his music. He is amazing. But he's a 143, and I can kind of talk to him, and then I can't talk to him. Like, I did a podcast with him when we were talking music and things like that. I could talk to him. And then we started talking about other stuff. And maybe that's the first stroke I had. I mean, maybe in retrospect, that's why. Let's use that as an excuse. I had a TIA, like a mini stroke. That's why I didn't understand him. But I mean, he was talking and it was not a video conversation. Because like I said, if you ask an American Black woman if big dick energy is something real, watch their face. Okay, so let's see. Any other notes? Blue notes? Let's see. Yeah, I got 2. Harold Penners. It's Peners, I believe. I believe there's only one N. So it could be Peeners. And I'm like, they should have started, now that I thought about it, because I've mentioned it, a chicken and waffle place. Because on Prospect, that's where you would have found it and would still find it. So you open and it's Peeners, what's for dinner? I wish I could use this one, but I don't think it was as funny as when I wrote Peeners, it's what for dinner. The last thing I'm going to talk about is, like, sometimes people forget. So there was someone once that liked to say, oh, just because you're tall doesn't mean you have a big dick. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So sometimes forget proportionality and things like that. And I heard someone recently talk about, I believe his name's Oliver Raoult. It's something like French Canadian. It has 2 X's in it, which means for an American, I can't pronounce it. Even as a genius American. Racux, Razoo, Raro, Razilophone. I don't know. Oliver R. So anyway, he plays basketball for the University of Florida. I believe he's redshirting this year. This is his freshman year. Congratulations. And Oliver stands 7'9" tall. Hold on. I don't have my phone. I have so it's a lot of centimeters. Like enough centimeters that if you told a Canadian or someone from the UK that you were that many centimeters, they would say, no, you are not that many centimeters. Because no one is that many centimeters. 7'9". Because when I say that, everyone's like, no one is 7'9". So he's 7'9". So here's my deal. Like, if someone, my mom, who is probably 5 foot now, she always said she was 5'2". Most people, especially if you're on the shorter end or if you're on the taller end for a female, tend not to always. They may round up or down a little, and not just like the next number. Like, I'm rounding down to the next even number or odd number, so you can pay, I'm 5'1" and 1/8, but I'm going to round up to 5'3". That's the next, odd number. So my mom always touted that she was 5'2". She may be 5 foot at best. Let's say she's 5'1" though. So the difference between her and me is the same difference between me and Oliver. 1 foot 4 inches. So that's what proportional. Like, if my mom's like, he is, but yeah, he's giant to you, but I don't think he's giant. And when people are like, I do think he's giant, but then someone who's 5'1" has to think I'm giant. I mean, like, why do you think so? So you think 1 foot 4 inches is not a big difference, but that 1 foot 4 inches, whatever. And this is the same mother of mine that has mentioned in a picture, I'm not really that short when taken with our family. Like when I said round down, like Mo always wanted to be like 6'4". Like, that's what she said growing up. And then I don't know. So she fell off the bed once. So she was laying on the bed as an infant. And our Doberman, who was used to being on beds, didn't know she was on there and jumped up on there. But while she didn't land on her, and she would have felt terrible because our D would have, D was the most, she was great. All my Dobermans have been amazing. I hope Indy is too. But when she jumped on the bed, when 80 pounds lands on a bed, and these are spring mattresses, not foam mattresses like you have today. I was in the bedroom and I saw this swaddled baby, probably. In my mind, she's swaddled so that her arms and legs weren't flying around. I don't know if that's better or worse. But D jumps on the bed. The baby goes flying off the bed onto the floor, which is a basement. So it's most likely like carpet padding, which is like a quarter of an inch, half an inch, not much, maybe an inch. Even an inch doesn't sound like a much. And then cover it with carpet. It was probably shag carpet. And the only reason I say shag carpet and tall shag carpet is because it was my in-laws. And I'm just going to say shag carpet, probably. Yes. So anyway, Mo goes flying through the air, lands on the ground. She cried a little bit. That is the only time I have been upset with a dog. And it was not the dog's fault. Maybe that's why Morgan didn't get the 6 foot. And I apologize. I mean, I would like to say that she was switched at the hospital, but she's way too beautiful and looks like her mom. I mean, so does Trinity. I mean, we know that's when, like, if anyone ever, like, some people are like, I'm not sure that this kid is mine. There's a great video of some like old guy, like in his 80s, like doing a paternity test for his 3 children. And the judge is like, why? And he's like, well, these kids are ugly. And the judge was appalled. But when they did the paternity test, none of the 3 kids were his, which was hilarious. So, but it's like the exact opposite. Like, 2 things. Tall, beautiful, and the nose. All of 3 of us have the same nose. Like, they look like their mom. They look like Bobby, except for their nose. It is definitely my nose. Thank you, Stephen. So, I think that's my real father. I need to probably, now that I've stroked that, I should probably take the drive and try to find him sometime. Summer road trip. Ooh, I could do shows from there. I don't know why, but I could. Let's see. What else do I have? Oh, so I was just talking about height. So it doesn't matter. So tall, I'm tall. It goes back to the big dick energy. Like I say, if you don't think big dick energy is a real thing, that term, like just what it is. First of all, ask an American black woman if big dick energy is real. Watch their face, not their words, because their face will tell you whether it's real or not. And then ask them to explain it to you. And then you'll know. Let's see. I think that's about it. Yeah. We've done the pink, the little pink, the little orange, a lot of yellow, and then a lot of blue. And I didn't even read it all. And once again, I spoke more about Zombeaver, the movie. Whatever dialogue I've used about Zombeaver, the movie, and you may think, oh my God, that made me dumber when he was talking about that. I still made you less dumb than actually watching the movies. I've watched that movie, so maybe that's what's maybe dumber. Because in the last few days, I'm like, I wonder if the stroke may be dumber. I don't think it has, but maybe that movie did. For those of you that are live streaming, hey, USA Jason. I'm not saying that he's live streaming, but there's probably a pretty good chance. And like, when he heard me talk about him and having me on in the background while he's having sex with his wife, Roz, he probably called her. She's probably at work. He probably called her and goes, is there any way you can come home? Like, he probably wanted to do it while I'm live streaming. And the thing is, I usually don't say when I'm live streaming, but he gets a notification. He's like, yeah, I am definitely. I was going to say watching this, but I assume there's more going on than just watching. My next talk, I think on Thursday, I think this is a Tuesday. If this is a Wednesday, then tomorrow. If this is a Tuesday, then in 2 days. The last Thursday, let's just say the last Thursday of January, there'll be a new episode with Jason, and it was a lot of fun. I love talking to Jason. He's a lot of fun. Charlene's a lot of fun. Skylar's a lot of fun. Tim's always fun. I need to talk to Sean Wickens again. I haven't talked to him in a while. Since July, April. Fudge. April. And I remember because it was April 20th. And if you're like, why do you remember that? Because it's 420. Anywho, anyhow, anyway, my name is Ro. Here's something also. I think this background and these blinds, I think we're going to try to do more of an actual studio type look. Yeah, I know. So I don't know what that, I have an idea. Because of my strokiness, that sounds too sexual than it does medical. But my stroke that I recently had may have made my ideas that I think are so good, maybe not that palatable to others. So I will use Bobby because she is my springboard, and that is not a sexual term, although we have tried the sexual act, the springboard. But yeah, she's going to probably have to do much of it, unless I can talk one of our children into doing it. But the chance of me talking an adult child into, like, I would have to lean heavily into the I had a stroke and can't do this for them to actually, like, they're not going to volunteer. Like, they're not going to hear that I want to do this. They're not going to hear I want to do this and can't do it myself and volunteer. They would have to be asked. And that's fine. They're busy. I get it. I wouldn't have done it at that age. Probably, most definitely. Anyway, my name's Ro. I'm the Stone Genius. You've been listening to my podcast. I got to look down because I don't have a, see, these are when I forget words. I don't have a producer. I'm the producer, so I have to know where that mouse is so I can hit the button correctly. So anywho, anyhow, anyway, oh, Trinity said, I have to put that on a t-shirt. Also, I believe, and I know this is the end, she's not going to be listening to the end, but Dr. Crow, you're going to have the first t-shirt I'm going to design, and it's going to be the quote that your mom's quote, have you ever thought about art school, Dr. Crow's mom? And that I believe that's going to be the first t-shirt we're going to have out. So I appreciate that. Anywho, anyhow, anyway, which will be t-shirt number 2, or maybe they'll be debuted at the same time as the other saying. Thanks for listening to the podcast. Thanks for watching. Thanks for doing whatever you do. Keep supporting it. I know I do always do it so late. Subscribe, hit that button. Whatever there is to hit, push, whatever, do it for me. I'd appreciate it. Thanks. Bye.